that says to me, you're coming with your full A game. You're coming with the intensity and the fire to say, I'm going to win this fight. And you're going to come up with a best game plan to try and win this fight. And then you go into the ring and then no one knows what you're doing. No one knows how you're doing it. No one knows what the game plan is. No one knows. It looked like you didn't know what the game plan was.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Yes, people, another edition of Nights of the Roundtable Discussions. We discuss all sports all the time. Got my guy ST with me. How are you doing, sir?
Man, I'm good. I'm glad. I'm back.
Everyone's glad to be back, right? Obviously,
yeah, man.
Like last week it was 2 and the Truth and KA. Obviously, you now, and so it's come full circle. All only one missing consistently is Cooking with Rash, bro. We get back on. That's the full set. But yeah, people, we are back. ST is back, and listen, boxing talk is back. I told you, I did promise you last week, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. So we're back again this week. We've got a lot to get through and cover because there's been fights going on. Obviously, I said to you people, oh yeah, I forgot, bruv. You've been away. Like you've been away longer than I've been away.
Yeah, so bro. I've been away way longer than you, bro.
Yeah. You've been away. So yeah, it's good to have you back, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you,
obviously. But people, yeah, boxing talk. We're gonna be getting through 3 fights that have happened over the past month and a half or so. So you're getting your full dose of boxing talk. But as usual, before we start, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Get the likes up, get the subscriptions up. As I say all the time, share. We are here, only channel on this platform that gives you multiple sports, so much knowledge, so much banter, and all that good stuff. And don't forget to join our social media pages as well. Links are in the description. Yeah, boxing talk. ST, we're going to start with the biggest fight that I wasn't in the country for. I think you had probably just come back for, which was Fury versus Whyte. Took place a few weeks ago in April, towards the end of April, at Wembley Stadium. Had the most amount of fans. I think it was 94,000 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was a full house.
Yeah, full house. Atmosphere was nuts, according to the Truth and Cooking with Rash, who were actually there and experienced it. And it, in terms of the finish, it didn't disappoint. I mean, it was for a WBC heavyweight title. Fury stopping Whyte in the 6th round, KO. No point in even trying to friggin' discuss that because it was disgusting. And yeah, Whyte had no answer to it at all. ST, the reason why I said that the finish was good was because when you look at the fight as a whole, it was odd. It was an odd fight. Fury kind of did what he had to do without doing much. Dillian Whyte, I say, didn't turn up. He just didn't show up. And it all culminated in the 6th round where Dillian Whyte got caught with the same shot that he got caught with the shot against Povetkin, got caught with the shot against AJ, the uppercut, and that was it.
The one that Parker caught him.
Yeah, Parker caught him as well. Yeah. So yeah, from your perspective, bro, like just assess the fight. Because for me, I found it very disappointing in the sense that Dillian Whyte just didn't turn up to the dance.
I mean, that's what it was. I didn't exactly kind of know what game plan Dillian had. And it's shocking because they both know each other very, very well. They've sparred with each other for a long time. They've stayed in rooms when they were on the Klitschko camp together. They know.
Oh, did they?
Yes. So he knows. So they know each other very, very, very well. I didn't know what. I think Dillian must have found it hard to actually come inside Tyson's reach, But I don't know what his game plan, Dillian, was. He looked so confused. I don't know who it was that came up with the game plan, but Dillian wasn't even being aggressive. He was trying to box with Fury, then he wasn't. Then he came out southpaw, and I was just like, I was just scratching. Exactly, I'm doing that. I was just scratching my head. I'm like, what's he doing? Like, in my head, I didn't know. I didn't think. I knew he wouldn't win. I said personally, I think I said it in the group, the 7th round.
Yeah,
I was
you did
unlucky.
predict that, yeah.
I was unlucky because for the reason why I didn't see how Dillian would get past Fury's jab if he needed to box. All Fury really needed to do is box tall. And even though I don't think Fury has the biggest power, Dillian Whyte has been hurt a lot. So once you've been hurt a lot, it's easy to hurt someone like that. And I think he's been through a lot of tough fights. There's not really much to discuss. Fury did what he had to do, used his jab, lent on Dillian for a little bit. Dillian gassed out, but then Dillian didn't even have a game plan, really. And then the knockout was smart. Fury was tapping the body. What White does is, with his shell defense, he doesn't cover up. He covers up high, but he doesn't really. He doesn't cover. He just covers his chin. He doesn't do the Joe Frazier like kind of defense. So he doesn't anticipate the uppercuts coming. And Fury, I think that you can tell Fury knew him.
Yeah.
Either that or they studied him very well, or both. And Fury just threw the uppercut. It was solid. It was fluid as well. And Dillian Whyte just got caught, and like he's been caught a few times now. And that's all really you can say about the fight. It wasn't a surprising ending, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah,
It was exciting for everybody, but
this is it. This is it. Like, and I 100% agree with you. No one expected Dillian Whyte to win this fight. Let's just put it out there. Like, apart from probably the truth, because obviously the Dillian Whyte is the truth boy. But no one expected him to win this fight. I think the disappointment for me is that this is the same guy. And don't get me wrong. Listen, I respect everyone in the sport of boxing. Most people, sorry, not everybody, because I got the people that I can't stand. But my thing with Dillian Whyte is you've waited so long for this opportunity, yeah. Like, as the Tooth would say, he probably waited 175,256 million days to get his shot at the title, yeah. And you finally get it. You say you're only going to the first press conference and the last press conference. There's no press tour. You're not doing the 24/7 or all access. You didn't turn up to the open session that they do the week leading up to the fight. Didn't do any interviews out, like obviously with major sports channels or radio stations. So you went down that Floyd route, because if you remember when Floyd was fighting Pacquiao, he was the same. Didn't really want to do anything. Didn't really want to talk to anybody. Left everything behind closed doors, right? And that says to me, you're coming with your full A game. You're coming with the intensity and the fire to say, I'm going to win this fight. And you're going to come up with a best game plan to try and win this fight. And then you go into the ring, and then no one knows what you're doing. No one knows how you're doing it. No one knows what the game plan is. No one knows. You look like you didn't know what the game plan was. And all Fury had to do was stand there, as you said, fight long with the jab, move his feet a little bit, lean on you, and then halfway through the fight, when Fury got bored, he just said, forget it, bang. And it's lights out. So from a Dillian Whyte perspective, it's like you did all of that to do nothing. And don't get me wrong, Tyson Fury is difficult to fight. We know that. As we've said before, he's probably the most skilled heavyweight in the division. Barring Usyk,
yeah.
And he can beat you in so many different ways, especially as he's added the knockout power to his arsenal. Because that's one of the things that we said, that he never had a knockout power until we saw him in the second fight against Wilder, and the third, and obviously this one. and he's always going to be awkward because he's just the biggest guy. But you did nothing, and that's the problem. You did nothing. So it's one of them ones where he's gonna turn around and look at that and think to himself, "I really didn't show up." And Tyson Fury's like, "Oh, it's just an easy night's work, not a mark on me." And it is disappointing for Dillian, but it is what it is. But ST, I wanted, before we talk about Fury and what he said after the fight, just to wrap up on Dillian. Where does he go from here, bro? Like, what's next? Because as I said, look how long he had to wait for the shots, right? And then obviously you've got AJ versus Usyk. Yeah. So I think Joseph Parker is fighting
Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce. So for Dillian, where is it from here, brother? Is it back to Derek Chisora? Is that where he's got to go back to?
I mean, if you're talking about what I think he should do, or what, I mean, if I think he should do is, unfortunately, I don't think Dillian Whyte will get another opportunity.
Neither do I.
So I think he should retire personally. He's been in a lot of very difficult fights. And for me, his punch room resistance, it used to be a lot better before the AJ fight and stuff like that. During the AJ fight, it was all right. It's gotten a lot worse. He's been hurt a lot of times, and I don't see it getting any better for him. And I think also the situation with the money, the ongoing purse stuff with the WBC, I think personally that was also on his mind. I'm not saying Dillian Whyte would have beaten Fury, because I don't think he would have beaten Fury either way, but it's like, I think that added pressure of the WBO not giving him the right purse that he wanted, or the shenanigans, or the long time waiting. Sometimes when your frustration builds, it could be two things. Like with a fighter like Dillian, that frustration, it shouldn't. You need a bit more of a calm head, because Dillian is such a hothead. That frustration was building up inside of him, and when the frustration builds inside, like a fighter like Dillian, it's not very good as well. Mentally, I don't think Dillian was there in the fight. If I'm being very honest, I think he was just so pissed off with the Seal situation, and he has every right to be pissed off. Don't get me wrong. I agree with why he's pissed off. Yeah, they violated him, but at the end of the day, you have a fight to win. Like, sometimes you need to let the politics deal with it after. But when you're in that camp for like 6 to 12 weeks, the only thing you should be thinking about is the opponent.
Yeah.
And I think him not going to the press conferences was a bit of a distraction, because it's different between Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao. Floyd was already the A side, if you understand what I mean. He was getting a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
You could choose whether to come or not. Yes, Dillian can still is not contracted to be there, but you can see it's his first major title fight.
Yeah.
It could be seen as a distraction. And I think all of that will also kind of cause him to be like, this is frustrating. For me, if I was him going through all that, and the way that the WBC especially are going on, and you know that the other belts are not available at the moment, I'd personally, for him, he would retire. But I think that whatever the outcome of AJ and Usyk, I think Dillian Whyte would probably want to fight AJ again, maybe. I mean, this is what I'm saying he probably would want to do. That's where I think he'll see himself going for me. For me, I think he should retire.
I think listen. I to be honest, I didn't expect you to say retire, but after saying what you said, it makes sense. I think the only way that AJ fight happens is if AJ doesn't beat Usyk, because then the both of them have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So they might as well just do the third fight, the trilogy fight, to see who is the best. Because I think even if AJ does lose to Usyk, he won't retire. So fighting Dillian in a trilogy fight makes sense for him to try and get another W under his belt. And for Dillian, it's a fight to go out on if he can beat AJ. But I don't disagree with your whole retirement argument. I mean, he's had 31 fights. on his resume. 3 losses, as I said, and horrible knockouts that he's had as well. So the mileage on the clock is there. He probably hasn't got that much left. So I completely agree with you. But we'll see what happens with Dillian. But in terms of Tyson Fury, obviously after the fight, he explained that he was going to retire after the trilogy fight with Deontay. And then obviously he got the offer to obviously box back in the UK at Wembley with the mad atmosphere. And he has now said that he is retired from boxing. I don't think many people believe it. But he said he made a promise to his wife and his kids and said, yeah, I'm out. He wants to go out whilst he still has all his faculties in place. ST, just first of all, let me ask you, do you think he's being serious? Do you think he can really walk away from the sport knowing that if Usyk beats AJ, that again, that's a clear path to having an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world? Can he seriously, don't be wrong, he can say it now, but after the Usyk and AJ fight, if Usyk was to win, and it's a clear path, there's no one else in either of their way to try and get the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, could he really turn down the opportunity and say, you know what, I'm going to stick to this promise and it's over? But answer the first question, do you think he's done? And if so, can he really walk away from that opportunity?
He's not done. I don't think he's done, to be honest. And I think I remember there was an interview. His wife was saying there's a fight. If AJ was to beat Usyk, hypothetically, his wife said Fury would definitely come out of retirement for that. So in my head, that means that he doesn't really think he retired. I just think I personally think that he's waiting on the right fight to fight. That's my opinion. I think he's fought Wilder.
3
He's
times.
fought Whyte that Wilder didn't fight. So, and I think that the winner of those two, I think he would want to fight them, because at the end of the day, he wants all the belts, and as all of them,
this is it. And we want an undisputed champion of the world, and I 100% agree with you. I think that the reason why I said Usyk is because then there's no more rematch clause, this and that, and blah, blah. It's just a clear path. There's nothing. Whereas if AJ were to win, don't get me wrong, I think Fury would take that in a heartbeat and take that fight. But then you got the case of, does Usyk now have a rematch clause? Will they have to do a trilogy fight? That's why I said what I said. It's not because because obviously Tyson Fury would prefer to fight AJ. It's the bigger fight. There's more money involved and whatnot. But I think AJ winning the belts back, it's not going to be like when he fought the Mexican Homer Simpson and he just won the belts and said, oh yeah, I'm done with him. Like Usyk will want a rematch, a trilogy fight. So, and Tyson Fury can't hold the WBC heavyweight title for that long after a trilogy fight. So that's why I said with Usyk, if he wins, there's no excuses. Those two can fight. Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Fury comes back, and then we can discuss what happens there, because I don't think that's as straightforward as everyone will think it is. But then we would have an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And I think then if Fury were to win that fight, he'd happily say, you know what, mic drop, I'm done. No one can't chat to me. You can't get me to do anything. I'm not doing it. Whereas I think you and I both know he just wants to do his own thing for now until after the AJ and Usyk fight.
Yeah.
No.
You summed it up. I don't think I could say anything more than that, man. We'll see him back. He just needs to wait for the AJ Usyk match. Once that's finished, we'll know Fury's whereabouts and what he wants to do.
Nah, 100%. And people, when is the ST? Is there a date for that?
There is, but I'm not sure. If you want to type it in if you can.
It's all right. It's fine. But people, anyway, whenever that fight is, we'll be previewing it and reviewing it 100%. But yeah, people, let's move on and let's talk about ST, the fight that happened on Saturday over the weekend. People, if you didn't know, which you probably didn't, because the advertising was absolutely awful. I feel like these fights in the zone, Like, they do not get the publicity, bro.
No.
So unless you're like a boxing head, or you just happen to come across something, you don't even know these fights are happening. And it's sad because boxing shouldn't be like this. But yeah, anyway, people, it was Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol for the WBA light heavyweight title. Canelo obviously going back up in weight. It was Kovalev that he beat at light heavy, innit?
Kovalev,
yeah. Kovalev, Canelo beat Kovalev at light heavy, when then went back down to super middle. Am I right in saying that? Yeah. And then went back up again to light heavy to fight the undefeated Bivol. And unfortunately, it didn't go Canelo's way, losing on unanimous decision to Bivol, 113-115. And ST, bruv, we were obviously speaking about it off air, but a lot of people didn't expect this to happen. A lot of people expected Canelo to win, including yourself, expected Canelo to win this fight. I was completely against that. I thought Bivol had a high chance of winning, and it came to fruition. I think the question that I want to ask you is, bro, not so much about the result, because we could talk about the result and the controversy behind it. But my whole thing is that did Canelo, and don't get me wrong, everyone respects Canelo for moving up in weight and taking this fight. Did he go a step too far? Did he believe that he could just go back up to light heavy and take on the guy who is probably joint first in light heavyweight division? Did he take him lightly?
I think he did. I think Canelo bought into his gas a little bit. He's not, actually, that's kind of, he's not gas, like, but he bought into his own hype, if you understand what I mean. And it's funny, I was reading a lot of things. Very few people predicted Bivol to beat Canelo, apart from a couple of real names did. Andre Durrell got it spot on, and he said it ages ago. And the way he described the fight is the way it happened. The way he predicted it, and he predicted it ages ago. And guess who the other one was? The drunkard himself, Kovalev. Yeah.
Oh, did Kovalev call it?
Kovalev called it. Kovalev said Dimitri Bivol will beat him. Let's be real, yeah. Kovalev was beating Canelo for the most of the fight. If you didn't watch the fight, I was like, yo, Kovalev is scoring the rounds, but because Canelo knocked him out, he knocked him out. But Canelo was getting beaten up in the rounds as well. He's getting outboxed. And Kovalev was like, if he sticks to this, Dimitri Bivol is the man to beat Canelo. So yeah, man, like first of all, a lot of people underestimated. I think he underestimated him as well. I think Canelo knew he was a very good fighter, but it's like, I'm Canelo. No matter what, I should be able to beat him no matter what.
Yeah.
But Bivol came with a game plan, a very, very, very good game plan. Showed him that he's not one of these boxers from Eastern Europe who are quite methodical. Yes, he's methodical, but he has a little bit of flair, if you understand what I mean, to him. He's been in America. He's fought in America before. Like, he's got the slick move. He's been trained by a couple of American fighters. He's got the slick feet, the good, educated, silky jab, the combinations. That's what beat him. Because a lot of opponents, if you notice, they fight Canelo 1, 2, 3. Canelo is very good at head movement, as you all know. So he's able to dodge 1, 2, 3. But Bivol, because his hands are very quick and his feet are so good, he sets him up in the position to hit your opponents. And Bivol is throwing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, stepping back. But then, of all the 3 that will miss, usually with Canelo opponents, he's throwing 3 that will miss, and then 3 that will connect.
Yeah. And
they were hurting Canelo. And that was really the game plan. And the jab was just landing all night. He used his hat. But I think Canelo really underestimated Bivol.
No,
I think he did. What can I say?
I don't disagree with you at all. And I think this is a prime example of someone biting off more than they can chew. I mean, Bivol is the natural light heavyweight. He's the bigger man, bruv, and it showed. Bivol, he boxed long when he wanted to. He weighed in on his wanted to. Canelo is used to having his opponents up against the ropes and going to work. Bivol, obviously, you mentioned the feet, sidestepped, got out of there, didn't allow Canelo to go to work. Canelo's feet are slow. If there's one thing about Canelo, his feet are slow and he likes to plant them. And Bivol's feet were quicker. And as you said, he used combinations. Also, as much as Bivol boxed long, he did box short as well. But his defense was very, very good. And very good. I think that was the biggest thing for Canelo, is that he couldn't break through Bivol's defense. And what then happened was Canelo started to get frustrated, and obviously Bivol was connecting. But I just think the game plan alone basically showed that if you are a boxer, you can get at Canelo, and Canelo is a great, and he'll go down as one of the all-time greats in boxing. But money may show the blueprint. Everyone says, oh yeah, Canelo was too young and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. Well, here's another guy that's just shown levels against Canelo. And don't get me wrong, as I said, credit to Canelo for going all the way up to light heavyweight. But there's certain times where there's levels to this. This guy is undefeated at light heavy. What is it? Over 200 amateur fights.
268 amateur fights.
Exactly. So he's been around. He's been the runner of the mill, and he knows what he's doing. He wasn't phased. And he's a humble you as well. If you listen to the post-fight interview, humble you, bruv. He's just like, I'm not the guy. I just beat him. I did what I had to do. Like he's not into the glitz and glamour and the stardom and whatnot. He just went out there, executed the game plan to perfection, and came out with a title. But ST, this is where you and I love boxing, but this is where I have the issue with boxing, and that is the judges' scorecards, which were absolutely ridiculous. 113 to 115. I think DAZN, who obviously does the fight and broadcasted the fight, had it as a draw. I'm like this is where the corruption in boxing gets to you, because you're just like, be realistic. Like, I agree with you. What did you? Because I gave Canelo 3 rounds. I gave
Canelo 3-1. So that is, I scored it 117, 111 for Bivol. And that's me being generous, given, and I gave Canelo one of the rounds because Bivol didn't really do anything in the round. But apart from that, Bivol's game plan it was as dominant. The only thing I've seen more dominant was obviously Mayweather's performance against. It was on that level. That's basically what it was. I think
the difference with the Mayweather performance is that Bivol's defense was very good, so Canelo couldn't break it down. But you saw at the end of the fight Bivol's arms, whereas he couldn't touch Floyd, and that was probably the only difference between the two. But it was a dominant display, and I'm just like, stop with the corruption, stop with going with the money, man. Like, be realistic. Give the fighter their dues. They don't do all of that for you to try and screw them over. You did it with Triple G in the first fight. Like, everybody knows that Triple G won that fight. It was never a draw. What is it? Was it Taylor and Catterall the other day that they did it with?
Taylor.
One of the biggest robberies in boxing.
I scored that fight, Taylor and Catterall. I scored it 115, 111. No, not Taylor, Catterall. It wasn't close.
It was not close, and this is they need to stop this. They need to stop this, and something needs to change, because you can't be robbing guys like this, right? Bivol destroyed Canelo. Canelo didn't have anything in that fight, nothing in that fight. Bivol jabbed well, moved his feet well, put in the combinations, right? Got out of trouble when he needed to, and you're telling me it came down to the 12th round?
It's a joke.
Absolutely ridiculous. And
you know what? Boxing needs to do that. I thought, when I heard 115, 130, I was like, oh, snap. Are they going to do man like that? Are they really going to do man like that?
Oh, bro, there's no way. Trust me right now. If they would have tried to say Canelo won that fight, I think that there would have been riots. I don't care if it was Cinco de Mayo weekend or not. because there's no way you could have sat there and said to yourself, "Oh, Canelo Alvarez won that fight." Absolutely ridiculous, and boxing needs to sort itself out when it comes to that.
But I'm happy as well because outside sometimes there's always the people that say, "Oh, Canelo won."
Yeah,
Nobody,
no one is saying
no one at all. No one is even saying it's close. Nobody,
because it wasn't. It
wasn't.
wasn't close, bruv. It wasn't close. Like Bivol dominated him. Dominated him, bruv. Like on some BDSM shit, bruv. Like that's how bad it was. Like literally dominated him. So my whole thing is that no one can come out and say, "Oh, Canelo, no." And yes, he's a great, but you got to be fair and credit to Bivol, and he's won the fight. ST, do you want to see a rematch? Because I don't. There's a rematch clause in there. Canelo says that he wants to. Bivol said, "Let's do it." I don't really want to see a rematch. I've got no interest in it.
Canelo needs to allow it. Yeah? Listen, your legacy will never be tainted. Don't worry about it, bro. Like, allow it. Like, it was gonna happen again. Like, Bivol will get better because you know what it is now. Bivol knows your power.
Exactly.
Bivol knows your power, so Bivol will be accustomed. You ain't gonna get any stronger. Unless
and you're not gonna get any bigger either.
Bigger, yeah. Unless you do the meat enhancement thing, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? I don't really want to see it, but it looks like it's gonna happen.
No.
We both know the fight that we want to see. I know Bertabiev is fighting Joe Smith next month. And then did you not know?
No, I knew. June 18th.
Oh yeah. So obviously, hopefully, Bertabiev wins that fight because we want to see.
He should, but to be honest, Joe Smith can punch, so it's gonna be tricky. I think Bertabiev will beat him, but Joe Smith can really punch, so it's gonna be interesting.
But we want to see Bivol versus Bertabiev, bro. We want an undisputed light heavyweight champion. That's what we want, and I genuinely believe that Bivol versus. Don't get me wrong, in terms of the pay-per-view and the money making, it probably won't be the biggest fight. But for guys that love boxing like yourself and myself, bro, that's gonna be a fight, bro.
I think I said that Bivol would give him a very hard match. I did say that. That would be difficult for Bertabiev. I'm gonna lie because Bertabiev don't like movement.
Oh, but it's gonna be difficult for the both of them because if Bertabiev catches Bivol, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. So it's gonna be it's that typical puncher versus boxer fight, and it's something that I want to see. Like I've got no interest in Canelo fighting Bivol again, bro. I'd rather see Canelo fight Triple G in a trilogy fight than watching him fight Bivol again. If I'm honest, I wanna. But you know me, I'm an undisputed merchant, bro. I just want undisputed everything. Like that's what I want to see.
You want to know who the number one guy is.
Exactly. This is it. So, and I know that the number one guy right now in like heavy is Bivol versus Bertabiev. Let Canelo go back down to middleweight and fight Triple G in a trilogy fight. Leave them to it. Like those are the two fights that they need to make right now. But we'll see what happens. It looks like the rematch is going to happen. I think they were talking about probably sometime in the winter. So we'll watch this space and see what happens. But I'm hopefully Bertabiev comes through and calls out Bivol next because that's the fight that we all want to see at light heavyweight.
That would be a serious fight.
It would be absolutely crazy.
And the joke thing is, it probably won't get the traction that it deserves because them two guys are not really known like that. They don't really speak. Well, Bivol actually speaks very good English, but they don't speak the best of English and stuff like that.
But to be honest, I don't really care about that. I just want to see the best fights.
I'm just talking about how it sold out. For me, listen, I know what Bivol and Bertabiev are on. That was a sick fight. Listen, I'll be tuning into that.
100%.
But I'm talking about the public as well.
Yeah, they should. But unfortunately, boxing appeals to the armchair fan. This is why I say to Tooth, as big as UFC is, and they make massive fights, and I've grown to love UFC. Bro, they haven't got the armchair appeal that boxing has at this moment in time, and that's the difference. That is the difference right about now. But we'll see. We'll watch this space and see what happens between Canelo and Bivol. As I said, probably be a rematch, but no one really wants to see that. And finally, ST, bro, we're gonna go back a little bit more, bro, because we got to talk about Spence Jr. versus Ugas, bro. Absolute another fight that I feel like didn't get the promotion that it deserved.
No, it didn't.
I think a lot because they had the all access. I think it had a little bit more traction and whatnot. And obviously, it was the build up to Spence Jr. coming out since it was the car accident, isn't it?
Second fight since the car accident.
Yeah. Second fight since the car accident and whatnot. Because he have surgery? Did he have surgery
on his left eye? He had
Yeah.
He injured his retina.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure if it's one eye or two eyes because it might be both eyes. I know he has issues with his retinas at the moment.
But you wouldn't have thought so with this fight. You wouldn't have thought so with this fight because it was absolutely dominant display from Errol Spence Jr. It was for the IBF, WBC, and WBA super welterweight title. And he didn't fail to disappoint, bruv. 10th round stoppage. In the end, the doctors had to come in and pull Ugas out because that eye was shut, bruv.
Ugas was just getting beaten up.
He was getting peppered.
Apart from one time, when Spence for some reason lost his head.
Was it the fifth or sixth?
It was a sixth, one of them, fifth or sixth.
Yeah.
Just got, but Spence put his hands down, turned to referee. Ugas caught him. I was like, Ugas, why are you stopping? Why are you stopping, bro? I was shocked.
Bro, that was his only opportunity because honestly, Errol Spence Jr., I haven't seen him look that good in a very long time.
Since Kell Brook.
Yeah, since Kell Brook, and even in the Brook fight, I had Brook.
I had
that fight very close.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
Until the
eye.
Yeah, 6th or 7th round. Then Spence was pulling away.
Yeah.
But I did have it close because Kell Brook started off really fast.
He did, and Spence struggled a little bit, but bro, he was a man on the mission, Spence Jr. Obviously, that timeout, all that pent up aggression that he had, and he just let it rip on Ugas, bro. Ugas literally had no answer to Errol Spence, and ST, just tell us your thoughts on that fight, bro, because I thought it was going to be closer than what it was, but Errol Spence just looked like he went to a different gear and Ugas just didn't know what to do.
I'll be honest, I didn't think it would be close. I thought it'd be like a 16, like a 1-6, 1-12, maybe like a 1-15, 1-13, but it doesn't seem close enough. Spence would do enough to beat him because the styles merge, and I think Spence had the better style to Ugas. They're about the same size. Spence has very good skills, good jab, keep it on the outside. I was shocked the way Spence came in. He was just hurting him with every shot and just beating him up.
Pulverizing him. Like I said, like Spence Jr. for me, and I rate him highly, bruv. But obviously, there's been a bit of a dip. It's been wavy. It's been wavy.
It's been noticeable. Very noticeable.
Yeah. Like it's been wavy, but like he looks like whatever issues he had prior have all gone, bruv. And I don't know if that was because Ugas was just that bad, or he was just that good, or it was somewhere in the middle, but he came in with a point to prove. I think he wanted to prove everyone wrong, because obviously all the traction was about Terence Crawford. Everyone saying that he's chickening out, he's running away. So he was out there to prove a point, brother. He did that so by beating the shit out of Ugas, who obviously won the belt off Manny Pacquiao. So it's a credit to him. But the question I wanted to ask you, ST, is Spence, after the fight, called out Crawford. We know Crawford's called out Spence. Bro, this fight has to happen. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And you and I, we always have the same conversation whenever we come on Boxing Talk about these guys not getting the fights together. And most of it's to do with the politics, because one's with this promoter and one's with that promoter. These two have gained enough of a following and will make enough money for these two promoters to look at it and say, let's get this fight done. Like where else is there to go? Have they both fought their mandatories? Am I right in saying that?
all the mandatories are done for now. Crawford, I think, will be fighting his mandatory next. I'm
Who's
not sure
that?
who. I forgot. I don't know who. I forgot who it is. But I think that he's mandated to fight one because the WBO are really strict with the mandatories, if I'm being honest. And then in December, we should see that fight if all goes well, you know.
Yeah, bro. I'm sick of it. Like these two have been not so much power up because obviously Terence Crawford had to move up to welterweight, but he's been in welterweight for a minute now.
Yeah.
He's been in welterweight for a minute now, so it's one of them ones where now it's just a case of get these two in the ring together.
Yeah.
Let's see who the best is. There's no need to do anything else. We know they're the two best in the division. Let's just get it done. Let's get these two in there and see who is the best pound for pound. Obviously, people have Canelo as pound for pound number one. Let's see who's number two pound for pound between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. I don't care about anybody else. And I understand from the governing body's perspective, they have to be fair, but forget fair. Let's get an undisputed Raw champion of the world, bruv. Let's get it done and let's see who's the best, bruv. Because I don't want this to turn into another Pacquiao Mayweather situation. And obviously, money's our guy, but I don't want it to go that late where everyone's like, oh.
And the thing is, like, don't get me wrong, man respects both the guys' skills, Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao. But that rivalry was very bad for the sport in the sense that nobody wanted to unify.
Exactly.
Nobody like.
So in the end, did they even fight for a belt in the end?
Or no, and none of them like won undisputed in their division as well.
Exactly. This is my point. Don't get me wrong. I think with these two, they transcended the sport so much that belts didn't really matter.
Yeah.
I think whereas everybody else, belts, don't get me wrong, there's so many stupid belts out there in boxing. Yeah. But I think when it comes to unifying and you becoming unified champion, undisputed champion, it still means something.
It holds prestige.
It holds prestige. Whereas I think Mayweather and Pacquiao were beyond that because they transcended the sport so much. But with everybody else now back to reality, it's like probably apart from Canelo, who again is getting into that stratosphere with Pacquiao and Mayweather. Everyone else becoming undisputed and unifying divisions means something. So in that sense, we need to see Spence versus Crawford to understand who will become undisputed and who will be known as the best welterweight in the division. And it's getting to a point where boxing need to, and I've said it before, boxing need to look at UFC. In UFC, there's no running away. And don't get me wrong, obviously the under one umbrella are the UFC, but boxing needs to go down this route where these fights need to happen. So you've got AJ versus Usyk. You had Fury versus Wilder. You had Fury versus Wilder. You had Canelo versus Triple G. These are massive fights that make money, right? So when you're going down the money route, stop being greedy. There's enough money out there for everybody. So get Spence and Crawford round the table and say, boom, this is it. This is how it's going to be. This is what's going to happen. We're going to split it 50-50 because between the two of them, there's no A side. I think the only thing you can say is probably Spence has been in the division longer, got more belts. So Crawford may have to take coming out first and whatever and blah, blah, blah. But in terms of money, there's not really much there to go on. Do you know what I mean? Same thing with Bivol and Beterbiev. Again, one has to be in the B side, but there isn't much in it either. Like, get these fights on, make them happen, because at this moment in time, boxing is in a twilight zone where people are becoming less and less interested in real boxers and getting more and more involved with these loser YouTube fighters. And boxing is becoming a farce right now. So they need to pull their fingers out and sort it out. But ST, just a quick one. Obviously, it's a fantasy, but if Spence and Crawford were to get together, and people, if they do, don't worry. Again, we'll preview and review it, bro. Who you taking right now, if you had to pick?
I just think Crawford's slightly the more skillful person. I always go for the more skillful person. I think Crawford will win, but I think he gets knocked down in this fight. I've been telling this to people. People must think I'm crazy, but I think Spence will knock him down because I've seen both of them have been hurt, but I've seen Crawford being hurt badly.
Has Crawford ever gone down before?
No, but it should have been counted against Kabilauskas.
Okay.
Kabilauskas did knock him down, but he wasn't hurt. But they ruled it as a slip. It was like the Floyd Zabjuda thing, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was a knockdown, but he wasn't hurt. But Spence has never been down as well, but I've only ever seen Spence get hurt twice. One by this Ghanaian guy called Latte hurt him a little bit, but he recovered. And obviously Ugas just now.
Yeah.
But I think Spence will knock him down, but I think Crawford will just win the rounds.
Oh, so you're saying let's go in UD? Yeah,
UD, but Crawford better not start like he usually starts. So Crawford's a notoriously slow start. Yeah.
Nah, you'll have to put his finger out. At this moment in time,
you're gonna say Spence. That's fair enough.
Nah. I'm Crawford. I'm Team Crawford. I can't lie.
I love Crawford, man.
I think it's split decision. I think it will go split decision because right now, I can't say that either or are gonna win, but I'd say Crawford just on the skill set. Yeah. And I think he'll just on split decision. But it's going to be one of them fights where I think it's going to be the first fight is going to be one of them fights where there has to be a second fight because it's going to be so close in the first fight. Like, I can't see a knockout.
No, I don't see a knockout.
I can see knockdowns, but I can't see a knockout or a stoppage. That's why I say split decision. But these are the mouth-watering fights, people, that we want to see. This is it. But yeah, people, we're going to wrap up there. Short and sweet one for Boxing Talk. But let us know what you think in the comment section. Let us know what you think about Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. Is it time? Do you agree with ST? Is it time for Whyte to retire, or should he carry on? Should Tyson Fury? Do we really believe that Tyson Fury is retired, or will he come out after the decision that AJ Usyk? Canelo versus Bivol. Do you really want to see the rematch for that fight, or should it be Bivol versus Bothe? Should Canelo go back down to middleweight and fight Triple G in a trilogy fight? And Errol Spence versus Crawford. Let us know what you think. Do you think that's going to be? Do you think that fight will ever happen? First of all, are we going down the Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather route? And as of this point right now, who do you think wins that fight? People, we want to hear from you. And before we go, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Get the likes up, the subscriptions up, all that good stuff. Like I say all the time, share. We are here. And don't forget to join our social media pages as well. Links are in the description. I want to say thank you very much to my guy, ST. As always, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, man. I'm glad to be back again.
100. People coming up should be back with 2 for Fight Talk tomorrow. And then the day after that, it should be Footy Chat is back as we preview the North London Derby and the FA Cup final. And as we've said, people, I'm going to set a date, but next week, NBA Talk will be back. We will be getting into that because there's so much to cover as well. And obviously next week, we're looking towards the end of the season to find out what is going on in the Premier League. But people, stay safe out there, be safe, and we shall see you very, very soon. Peace.